Hello and welcome to day 4, or what I believe to be day 4 of the British Isles cruise. Uh, Welcome to Family History with Chris, or Family Vacation with Chris, however you want to call it. It's okay. Uh, we are in Dublin, Ireland. Now, I can't believe that I forgot to do a video on this. Now, what I did do, though, is I did record a little bit of the guide. My youngest and I decided to go do Easy Dublin. So basically, it was just getting out to Dublin, getting on a bus, and touring the city. Uh, and the guide talked the whole time. So, I got a little clip, but and he was talking about St. Patrick and everything. Uh, and I wish I could have got the whole story because it was a pretty good story, I thought. Uh, but just to give you an idea of how the trip was, I'll put that on towards the end. Um, this is Dublin, as far as I think, and we actually had to go out on these boats right here. So that's what they look like on the underside. And basically, I was doing this because I was going to build this in Minecraft and just to give ideas and stuff like that. Uh, he wanted to be on the top of the ship on the boat, and so that's what we did. And we came in. There's a little tower there that you get your Ireland flag and stuff. Kind of like a gate, into the city. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, we passed the gate where I believe we're in. Either that or that's the other side. Uh, just coming in. Yeah. Okay, so this, I thought it was interesting. Say hello to, how do you say that? At first I was saying Dunlaugair or something like that. There's Dunleary. Dunleary. So the guy did explain what Dunleary was, and Dune is like castle, I believe. I but this is what I get for not recording this earlier. But yeah, so this area here is over. You know, it's called Dune Larry. It's established in 1817. You can read that, I guess. Um, and basically, I just took pictures of architecture and stuff. I thought this was kind of cool. So we're going. Uh, it's not too far in from Dune Larry there. I think this was like a school or something. So, uh, and then there's like a lot of architecture that looked like this. This could have been part of the same building. And I don't even remember what this was. Oh, but sorry, but he kept on talking. It's like, oh yeah, you need to take a look at this, take a picture of this, and do that, do this. It's like, okay, we'll do that. Um, this is part of one of those parks that they had. Like, um, this park, there's like a bunch of houses around it, and I don't know if I took a picture of the houses, but there's like 4 blocks, and uh, he explained why all these all these houses had different colored doors and stuff. Is because kids would get off to school, they go to the bar or the pub and stuff, and then come home late and forget which door was theirs, and so they'd walk into someone else's house. And so ever since that, they've the parents didn't like it, so they uh, colored their doors and kept it like that ever since. Um, I think this is still a part of the park, just a pyramid of some significance. Uh, and this is why I'm not a guide. I couldn't do this. I couldn't talk as much as he did. It was crazy. Honestly, I don't remember what that was. These are the houses, just lined up. They all look the same. And then there's like a church or something like that at the end. Uh, what was this? Just some more buildings, I guess. The price of yeah, the price of housing out there, I sounded like it was equivalent to out here. If you were to put it into uh, dollars, it would be like 500,000 for a house or something like that. So somewhere around there. Um, St. Patrick's Cathedral. Now we talked about a lot about it, and I try to get pictures on all sides because it's a pretty cool looking cathedral. Um, just looking at it, he told the story of St. Patrick and what all this meant. I think his biggest issue though is like, so out there in Dublin, they have Guinness whiskey, and apparently it's quite popular. And for someone who doesn't drink whiskey or whatever, I'm like, okay. So at some point we got to go see Guinness, and he talked about how Dublin, they have a harp, and Guinness had to, the on the Guinness, uh, their thing, they got a harp too, but they had to switch it. So if you look at Dublin's harp and Guinness's harp, they're pointing different directions. So otherwise they would have been sued or something like that. So um, yeah, just a bunch of architecture. Is what this was. I think this is part of um, their government. We went by a lot of government buildings. What's that say? Depart optimo maximo sfibi invo advent or advent or something. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's where all the people in the government gather, stuff like that. So it's kind of cool looking too. So I apologize. Here's St. Patrick's Cathedral, I believe, or unless this is someone else's cathedral. Oh man, when you do things and you put it on you. Oh, this one's cool. This is a portal. Now, once upon a time, they were trying to put portals like from one city to look into another city or something like that. And I believe this one looks into Pittsburgh. Uh, and it's just right there in the middle of the road. It's like, hey, that is pretty cool. But some people's some of those cities portals just didn't work as well. So, but this one's still here. That was kind of fun. This is more of just the. I think it's more where the government is and stuff like that. Okay, so we did go out to a park, and I don't remember the name of the park either. I am sorry. This is horrible. This is this is an obelisk, if you can't tell. But yeah, he told a story about that too. Um, And then, you know me, I like to take pictures of birds, try to get a good picture, because, you know, there's that bird again. I don't know if it's a rook or if it's a crow. I think they called it a crow. But it was like kind of gray on the back. It's not all black, you know, so it was just kind of weird. Um, there was a river that ran through Dublin, and the river was running pretty low, but we ended up going past this a couple times. So I thought, well, okay, let's just take some pictures of the buildings down by the river. Um, some stories that they, yeah, this bridge was kind of cool. Uh, some stories they told about, oh, geez, this is when we went. We actually got off at the park and was able to go take a restroom break. You know, uh, and so there was like a walled garden or something like that, and I found the entranceway, so I thought I'd take a picture. I wasn't supposed to go in or anything, but it was actually pretty cool. I mean, the way they do gardens out there is kind of like, well, yeah, make it decorative. Might as well, you know. And then this building, there was, uh, it was in Roman numerals. It is DCCXI or something like that. So kind of like, and and when I was looking at it, it's like, I don't know what number that is, but I know it's a numeral, and XI is like 11 or something. But you know, having DCC, if anybody knows, please feel free to tell me. But it was pretty cool. It's like, yeah, that's when that house was built. It's old architecture out there. Um, and then I guess going back, I believe that is a cormorant. Going back to the ship. So some things they talked about was talked a lot about St. Patrick, a lot about Guinness, and then they did tell the history about you know, fairies and the reason it was named Ireland. There were these three sisters, um, and they all had to do a test, and Ire, the one named Ire, won. And you know, this is in a book of records somewhere. So yeah, and so that's why they named it Ireland. Um, and so, I mean, overall, I don't know if I'd do this. It was interesting if you like the, you know, architecture of the buildings. If you like to stay on a bus all day, do activities. I feel bad for my youngest, because like I don't know if he enjoyed it or not, because he just didn't want to go do what everybody else was doing. So, anywho, we did that, and then so afterwards we got to play a game called Ravine. We all got together, and if you've ever played Ravine, it's kind of a fun game. It's a cooperative game, and the fun part is when you go mad. It's like there's a plane that crashes, you go and and so every day you have to go forage for food. At night, something bad happens, or something happens. So you either gotta light a fire, or and then you got like 6 hearts, and 3 of those are automatically up, and then you get to roll for the other 3 to see how many you actually get. You get down to 1 heart, you go mad. If and then whatever the mad card says, you have to act it out or something like that. And you know, there was a time that we played this in the uh, bar 6 lounge or something like that, and then some lady came up, and I was stuck where I couldn't talk, or something like that. So I had to act. It was I couldn't use my arms, and I couldn't talk, and she was trying to talk to me. So I guess you had to be there. But anyway, it was a good time. And there's a sunset for you. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoy this. It's just pictures. I apologize. I'm really bad about. Well, it's actually been a few months now, so if I can remember whatever. Uh, but I'll go ahead and put on uh, a piece where the bus driver, no, the guide is talking, and so hope you enjoy that. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.
He was very upset about being made a slave, and he prayed to God. He was a really religious young man, and he prayed to God every single night. So please get me out of here. If God, if you get me out of here, I'll become a priest. I promise. Lo and behold, 6 years later, up there in the Dublin mountains where he's herding his sheep, God appears to him and said, "Go down to the seashore. There's a boat waiting for you. Get on that boat, and you're free." So he did that, and he went home to his family in Wales. He was Anglo-Norman, or Anglo-Welsh, I should say, Anglo-Norman, and there was a great celebration. They were delighted, and then a couple of days later, after he was waking up with a bit of a hangover, and God kind of tapped him on the shoulder in the middle of a vision, and said, "Hello, Mowen, are you happy to be home?" "I'm so happy to be home," says Mowen. "Thank you, God, for getting me out." I think we made a bit of a deal, though, didn't we, Mowen? Now, before we get, I'm going to do this a lot. On the right-hand side, there's a little funny little squat fortress. See, look out the seesaw. See that funny? That was built with many other towers, especially to my English friends who would recognise them. They're called Martello Towers. We have about 37 of them up here in Dublin. They were built to repel the Vladimir Putin of his day. We didn't know what he was going to do next. A man called Napoleon Bonaparte. They went, look at that tower. That's been there since 1804, as well as the other 37 towers. One of them, James Joyce lived in. We had a day celebrating him only yesterday, and I also do a bit of work in that tower. But those towers, look at them now, they're still standing. Guess how long they took to put up? 37 of them. 6 months. And they're still standing today. 6 months. They were terrified of what was going to happen to them. Now we look at this beautiful, beautiful vista as we go now. This is Dublin Bay. Never mind the industrial complex over there, but look at this beautiful bay. Dublin Bay has been one of Europe's natural deepest seawater ports for many, many years. However, in the middle of that bay, there's a treacherous sandbar. Okay, a treacherous sandbar, and that's why the port of Dunleary was built in the 19th century to act as a harbour of refuge. Back to Mr. Sukat. Mr. Sukat. Then he said, "Okay, God, I've made a deal with you." So he went over to Palace and became a priest, and then he took his religious name, and his name was, you can guess where this is going, his name was Patrick. Well done. And he became our Saint Patrick, and he said he got more visions, and he said, "Please come back to us, Saint Patrick, please come back and convert us, heathen Irish into Christians." And he said, "You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. I ain't going back to that place." But he finally went back, and he was very clever. He was the second Christian missionary that came over to try and convert us. The first guy was a guy called Palladius. He failed miserably. The reason he failed, because he tried in time-honoured fashion of converting us from the top down. He come into a local, we'd have towns in those, there's a local settlement, and he'd say, who's the boss, who's the local king? And he said, "Okay, hello, local king, here's some cows, here's some gold, can I set up a